Then further, after the particular aspect of Maharashtra, the next aspect that is going to be there, it is going to be the developments that happen in the area of Punjab. Okay, so when we talk about the area of Punjab, as I've already told you that there were three major areas. One of the major area, it is going to be the area, means the first one was Maharashtra, then there is going to be the Punjab, and third one was the Bengal. So when we talk about the Punjab, so in the Punjab also, for the rise of the revolutionary activities, there were certain of the major issues that are going to be there. Now, when I'm talking on these issues, let me just write these issues. Okay, let me just write these issues. So the reasons for the rise of revolutionary activity in the Punjab area, the first one that we can attribute to, it is going to be the famines that were created in the India level, and also it is going to be created in the area of Punjab. So the people, they generally got an idea that these famines, they are generally man-made, and in the man-made, it was the Britishers who had led to the activities of Britishers, which had led to the creation of famines, because the Britishers, they were just majorly targeting the people. The Britishers, they were just majorly, taxing the people. They were just extracting revenues from the people. They were not innovating agriculture, and in spite of the crop loss, the Britishers, they were not doing anything. They were also diverting the food products from here, the grains from here, to the other areas. So they were creating a scenario wherein famine could be man-made. So because of that also, the Indians, they are going to think, the revolutionaries, they are going to think that the Britishers, they needed to be taken on head with violence. That is the first aspect. The second aspect was the rising land revenue. Rising land revenue. So the Britishers have, as I have already explained to you in the earlier session, okay, that the Britishers, they adopted a practice of revenue farming. Revenue farming. And the Britishers only had the main idea or agenda to extract revenues at any cost from the particular Indians. The third major idea was that agriculture, it was a very important occupation in the India. And at that point of time, because India is a rain fed country, so we generally utilized water from the groundwater or the surface runoff water. However, in order to do such irrigations, the Britishers, what they did is they are going to tax at a very high level. Then apart from that, what happened is that there was also the practice of Begar, the practice of Begar that was prevalent in the agricultural areas, and it was done majorly by the zamindars. And the zamindars, they were supported by the Britishers. The zamindars, they were protected by the Britishers. Now, what was the practice of Begar? It was basically kind of forced labor. It was the forced labor that was done by the zamindars for the peasants, and when the peasants were acting against the zamindars, the Britishers, they supported the zamindars. So that also led to an increasing hatred within the Indians against the Britishers. Then the events that were happening in the area of Bengal, the events that were happening in the area of Bengal. So in the Bengal, what happened is the oppression that was done by the Britishers, that is going to lead to a rise of revolutionary activity here in Bengal as well. Here in Bengal as well. So these are going to be the major reasons for the rise of the particular, you know revolutionaries from the area of Punjab. Now in the area of Punjab, there is going to be certain important personalities who are going to be the revolutionaries. The first one that we can understand, it is going to be the Lala Lajpat Rai. Okay, Lala Lajpat Rai. Now here I am not telling that Lala Lajpat Rai, he was a revolutionary. No, he was considered to be an extremist, but he had good links with the revolutionaries. He was a extremist, but he had good links with the revolutionaries. Means he also met some of the revolutionaries. However, he never openly projected revolutionarism. He never openly promoted it. He never did that. But he had good links. And moreover, what happened is that Lala Lajpat Rai, at that point of time, he had one particular journal, and that journal was known as Punjabi. That journal was known as Punjabi, and the motto of this journal, it is going to be self help at any cost. Self help at any cost. Now that particular motto, what does it signify? Self help at any cost. So it was somewhat of a inspiring factor for many of the people who read his journal Punjabi to become revolutionary. So it was an inspiration. So he did not directly tell the people to become revolutionaries, but through him many people do become revolutionaries. Then apart from him, there was another personality in the area of Punjab. His name was Ajit Singh. He was the uncle of Bhagat Singh. And here he is going to start what? He is going to start an extremist group at that point of time. And that extremist group, it was known as Anjuman, Anjuman-e-Mohsin, Anjuman-e-Mohsin-e-Watan, Anjuman-e-Mohsin-e-Watan. And this particular extremist group, it had its journal known as Bharat Mata, known as Bharat Mata. So this was the aspect of Ajit Singh. So these were the people who were there in the area of Punjab. Apart from that, there is also going to be Aga Haidar, Bhai Parmanand, Lala Hardayal, Sayyid Ahmad Raza. So all of these particular personalities, they are going to be the revolutionaries who are going to be there in Punjab, and they are going to carry out the revolutionary activities. Okay, Aga Haidar, Bhai Parmanand, Lala Haidar, then Sayyid Ahmad Raza. So you shall be, you shall be hearing to these names in the coming session also. So this was the aspect of Punjab. Now what I want you to do is that I shall be giving you one homework, and that homework, it is going to be that you will have to do the particular homework for the Bengal, the revolutionaries in Bengal. And what you have to do is that in the manner that I have created this for Punjab and for Bengal, for Punjab and for Maharashtra, I want you to do it. So you will have to do it in chronology, like this note I have added here, and here also you will have to do it in such a manner. All right. Now there were certain weaknesses of these particular revolutionaries. All right, so we will talk on the weaknesses at the end of this particular session. But here I want to tell you one thing, that what did we see up till now? We saw that the revolutionaries, we can divide it into into two categories. One was the revolutionaries in India, and another was the revolutionaries who were there abroad. So the revolutionaries in India, we looked into the revolutionaries from the time period of 1909, the revolutionaries who was pre 1909, and in the pre 1909 we looked into Maharashtra, the revolutionaries of Maharashtra, and the revolutionaries of Punjab. Means pre 1909 we looked into some of the revolutionaries, that is the Vasudev Balwant Phadke and all. But here it was not totally pre 1909, it was pre and post. I'll just write it here, pre and post, so that you do not get confused. Pre and post 1909, we saw the revolutionaries in both the areas, Punjab and Maharashtra. The homework is that you will have to do for the Bengal area. Now, when we talk on the revolutionaries, okay, so here some of the revolutionaries, they are also going to be abroad. They are going to carry out their activities from abroad as well. So, who were these revolutionaries who wanted to carry out activities from abroad with their main agenda of being to overthrow the British, bring bring simultaneous uprisings in the colonies of Britain, to destabilize the British in the colonies, and to defeat the Britishers in the colonies. So that is what is being mentioned here when we talk on the scenario of the particular revolutionaries in the area of revolutionaries who carried out their activities in the abroad. So one such area that we are going to talk about is going to be the area of London. Now when we talk in the area of London, there was one person known as Shyamji Krishna Varma. Now what happened is that this particular person, he was a very great follower of Bal Gangadhar Tilak, and he had been following Bal Gangadhar Tilak since a long period of time. And Shyamji Krishna Varma was also a person who belonged to the area of Bombay province at that point of time. Now Bombay province, it was inclusive of Gujarat and Maharashtra, the modern day times Gujarat and Maharashtra. many areas of Gujarat and Maharashtra, they belong to the Bombay province. Okay. Now, what happened is that Shyamji Krishna Varma, he had seen that Bal Gangadhar Tilak was jailed for the speeches that he gave. At that point of time, Shyamji Krishna Varma understood that if you want to carry out extremist activities in India, you cannot reside in India because the Britishers would not allow you to, you know, carry out activities in India, because India was somewhat of a colony of the Britishers. So at that point of time, he decides to go abroad to carry out his extremist activities. And the area he is going to select is London. The base he is going to select is London. One of the reasons he selected London was that London at that point of time, it was an epitome of individual human rights. Means even if you did anything, the information would spread amongst the British people. Now, why did the British government become so successful in India? Why did the Britishers, were so openly doing activities in India? The reason was that the atrocities that the Britishers conducted in India, the information of those atrocities never reached Europe. The information was there in India itself. Either if it would have reached Europe, automatically that would have been a issue for the British government. There would have been protest and everything happening, because England was an epitome of human rights at that point of time. So if there was a violation of human rights in India, the Britishers would have fought against it. The British natives would have arisen up for protest. However, the atrocities that were conducted in India, that never reached there through newspapers or nothing of that sort. And even if some information reached there, the Britishers manipulated it by saying that these people, they were dacoits or any of those things. They were labeled, the Indians were labeled with such things that the Britishers could justify to their citizens that force was necessary. So that is why he is going to be selecting London as the base, because the British government, even if it decided to, suppress him violently, they would not be able to. So here what happens is that Shyamji Krishna Varma goes to London, and in order to carry out his activities, he is going to create an association there and a front there. It was a front basically, and that association, which would act as a front, it was known as the India House. So he started the India House, and this association, it basically had a premise, and it was to carry out its activities and everything. And this India House, it had its own journal known as the Sociologist, within which they would write things and people would read it. Now, the main aim of India House and Shyamji Krishna Varma, it was that they wanted to bring the revolutionary youth from India to England and train them to carry out revolutionary activity in a scientific manner. Because revolutionary activity, it just ain't about the thing that you pick up a gun, you go, you do the violence, and that's over. No. From where will that gun come? If you have to be successful in that particular activity, you need insider information as to when that person would be there, when not, and everything. You would have to be strategic that even after carrying out that activity, how is one going to escape that area? Who is going to fund that particular activity? So all of those things require for a successful revolutionary activity, and that was the idea. He wanted to bring people to England to train them the science of revolutionary activity. And not only this, he also wanted to train the people, train the Indian youth to build connections. That means that through secretive organizations, how messages needed to be passed, from where you need to procure the guns, from where you need to finances, the finance initiatives and everything. So all of those things were generally done. So he brought the radical Indian youth from India and trained them in revolutionary activities, and the main intention was to help fund the Indian students studying, means through the front, that he brought the Indian youth under the disguise that he is helping that Indian youth study abroad. Okay, so that is there. Now this India House, It became a zone of meeting place for many of the revolutionaries, and the UPSC has asked this question. So many revolutionaries came at the India House, they met, they spoke, they planned, and they did things. So people like Shyamji Krishna Varma, PM Bhapat, Virendranath Chattopadhyay, Lala Hardayal, Bhai Parmanand, Madan Lal Dhingra, VVS Iyer, Madam Bhikaji Kama, Veer Savarkar, all of these personalities, Udham Singh, everyone was associated with the India House. Means they came, they met, they discussed, and